What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate, reverse rants, no hate. So I want to let y'all hear a little something. This is Keith Thurman being interviewed about Canelo Alvarez going up to cruiserweight to fight Makabu, and I want to let y'all hear his perspective. I'm going to chime in because I want to bring something out to you guys' attention, which I've done before. Let's take a listen.
This video is brought to you by HeyBoxing.com. Want to get paid for promoting boxing-related content on your Instagram? It doesn't matter if you have 50 bucks.
Majority, look at it like, man, this is hard. Like, moving up weight classes and taking on champions is a little difficult. What do you make of him moving up to cruiserweight and fighting the champion, potentially Makabu?
It probably, has a lot to do with him having Ruiz in camp. And he probably upped his confidence on being in the ring sparring bigger guys, sparring heavyweights. So in his mind, if I can spar a heavyweight, I can fight a cruiserweight, and that's just me from my perspective on why would Canelo truly step into this with confidence, and how could a fighter make those kind of moves with that much confidence? I would say that would probably play a big factor, because you take a fighter like Ruiz out of his camp, then where does the thought even come from? Who's even putting those kind of thoughts into his ear, right? Another thing, we know when you become the undisputed, you have to pay all the sanctioned bodies, and people of his caliber and making his money, we never like paying taxes, and we don't like being taxed three or four ways by the different sanctioning bodies. Winky Wright was notorious for that when he unified, and when he became the undisputed champion at 154. There was an article in the Tampa Bay Times of him holding all three belts over a trash can. He said, I'm just walking away from him. He wanted to step away from him. And at a certain point, we know in the sport that eventually a fighter's name can be above a belt. But for the common people, they don't know much about boxing. They hear the word champion. They understand the significance. They don't have to fully understand and fully envelop what a world champion is in boxing, what the WBA, IBF, Triple CD, they don't need to understand those things. But at the end of the day, they hear the word champion, and it just rings. You're driving down the road, come in Saturday night in your local arena, we have championship boxing, and it just resonates to a certain degree that this is a high caliber sporting event, and that's why we aspire to be champions, to get this recognition, to excite the people, and things of that fashion. But Canelo, he's a little bit beyond that. He's the Mexican king. He's a very proud fighter. He's accomplished so much, and he can do whatever he wants. So this is what he wants to do. That's what he's going to do. And if he accomplishes it, it's just going to go on the resume of all his other great accolades throughout his career. So, from that perspective, a lot of people are looking forward to seeing if he's able to make this happen. Similar to when Roy Jones Jr. Became heavyweight. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. This is a statement I've seen by a lot of fans, and just want to get your perspective as a fighter, because I think you have a lot more perspective, knowing it's difficult to move up in weight classes. But some fans are saying he's picking the easiest guy, moving up, and he's also evading fights with the Charlo and with the Benavides by doing that.
Yes. I can give you a triple yes. But so what?
So what?
He's Canelo. The
He's
people
Canelo.
love him.
The people love him.
He's got a huge following. He's brought tons of excitement. You can say he's cherry picked a little bit, but he's kind of learned from the best. He got beat by Floyd, and now he's starting to make money like Floyd. When he got that big contract that he had lawsuits with and a whole bunch of ups and downs and this and that. Are there greater challengers out there for Canelo Alvarez? Most definitely. Are there fights that I would truly love to see? Most definitely. Are there super talented individuals that might be able to give him problems? Definitely. Does he have to do any of those things? No. And
No.
absolutely not. And, if he says no bueno, there's no bueno. If he says, muy bien, then, so be it. Whatever he wants to do, what he likes to do, what makes him want to get out of bed and excited and elevate himself in his career, that's what he's going to do. There might be a time and a place for, obviously, he does not belong at cruiserweight. He needs to jump in and jump out of that. You know what I mean? So hopefully he jumps out and comes back and will challenge himself to some of those fights, Benavidez, Charlos, that are out there, Boo Boo, that are out there that we have not seen out of a Canelo Alvarez. There's many different styles that he's yet to face that I believe are some of the most exciting fights in that division that could manifest. But just because of his status and his superstardom, he gets to entertain the world the way that he chooses fit. So, and that is...
Okay, that's about enough. Basically, everything he just said, we've covered this before. Okay, for different reasons and from different things that happen. First off, yeah, it's going to be considered another notch under the belt. It's an accomplishment because he's going up to fight a bigger guy. Now, is Makabu the best cruiserweight? He's not ranked as the best cruiserweight. And in fact, there's a lot of people who feel like Canelo picked him because he's the easiest out of all the other cruiserweights that's out there with titles. Now, that's yet to be seen. This is opinions, but let me say this, okay? See, Canelo has fought some good guys, and there's guys out there, like he just said, that we want to see him fight. But look at everything that he said before that. Keith Thurman is in the business as well. He knows fighters can get away with things. Like he said, he learned from the best, right? He got beat by Floyd. But let me show you the difference, see? Canelo is not in Keith Thurman's weight class. So that's a fight that pretty much will never materialize. Now, when Floyd was fighting, Keith Thurman couldn't keep Floyd's name out of his mouth. When Floyd retired, Keith Thurman couldn't keep Floyd's name out of his mouth. So you can't sit here and give Canelo the green light just because he's not in your weight class and you know that's a fight that you'd never have. But you criticize Floyd every chance you get because, well, Floyd didn't fight me, he didn't fight Sean Porter, he didn't, all this, and not to mention, Floyd at this point is on his way out, 38 years old. Canelo's 30, 31, something like that. Younger than Keith Thurman. He's younger than Keith Thurman. Okay? But that point of what he said, this is exactly what I've been talking about. Certain fighters can get away with certain things because of their status. If people hate you, but they'll buy the pay-per-view or they'll come to sit down just to say, I was there the night he lost, so be it. If they come out because they appreciate you as a fighter, they like what they see in the ring, so be it. But then you hear him saying, does he have to fight them? No. That's the part of boxing where you see fanboys will cheer you if you go in the ring and fart. Go in the ring and blow your nose. Go in the ring. They'll cheer everything you do. But fight fans will start to get on your ass because it's like, okay, yeah, you did a lot. You did this, you did that. But you're still in the sport. You're still claiming to be the best. Same way Floyd was doing. And it's like, but we want to see you fight this guy, this guy, this guy. Now, here's the thing. I think Floyd would have beat Keith Thurman. I think he would have beat Errol Spence. I think he would have beat Sean Paul. I think he would have beat all of those guys. Doesn't matter now because it never happened. Just like I thought Pacquiao would beat them. And he beat Keith Thurman. But at a much older age. But regardless, we want to see Charlo versus Canelo. We want to see Demetrius Andre. Demetrius Andre is already, 33, 34. I mean, how much longer he's going to hold up, who knows? But we want to see these fights. We want to see him in Benavidez. Now, the problem that we have is Charlo don't want to go up in weight. he want to make it at 160 or catch weight. Benavidez has problems making weight, so we know it'll be at 168. Unless, he goes to 175 and Canelo goes to 175, more than likely it'll be at 168. Okay. The mindset that people have, this is what Keith Thurman is aware of. And I guess he felt like there's no need to argue the point because we already know what it's going to be. Like he said, there's other fighters out there that bring different challenges styles that he haven't seen yet, which is true. But at the same time, you heard what he said. Does he have to fight them? No. He's Canelo. All of this talk about certain fighters being bigger than titles, let me say this. There's no fighter bigger than boxing. I don't care how popular your name is, how many names you ring, and how many bells your name ring. There's no fighter bigger than the sport itself. And when we have that mentality that these fighters are, that's when you screw up. I mean, have some goddamn dignity, first of all, as men and women, all this bowing and worship and shit. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying, fighters have the mentality, just what he's saying. I don't have to fight these guys if I don't want to. I even told you guys, even from a management standpoint, where their team is telling them, man, go make this easy money. Let these people talk about you. You know what? They're going to talk, but they're going to be watching too. Your pay-per-view numbers or whatever, your attendance record, whatever. Attendance numbers are going to be up, everything. This is what they're telling them. Go out there and make this easy money. You don't need this fight right now. Why go in there and risk it right now when you got it's easy money right here. By the time you fight him, win, lose, or draw, you filthy rich. You got millions already. You understand what I'm saying? This is what they do. Now, Canelo just had the one defeat to Floyd. And he's been winning and winning championships ever since. But at the same time, I don't like the mentality of the way people think that it's okay. It's never okay. It's okay in terms of this, okay? You're on your way out the sport. You know that basically, you have a timetable of what you want to do. Because you can cherry pick, and we've seen cherry picks go wrong many, many times, okay? But it's not okay, like I said, to give one guy the red light and the other guy the green light. Well, he did it, so why can't he do it? Or why can't, no. That's where you want to prove that, you know what, this guy was great and did this and that, but I'm not going to do that. Where he cherry picked, I'm not cherry picking. Now, when you do cherry pick in terms of, look, man, I had 2-3 tough fights in a row. I just want to keep active. I'm going to fight this guy. Then after this guy, after I get him out the way, it's back to serious business. That happens all the time. That's not, such a big deal. But the fact of the matter is, when you sit here and you start believing that it's okay for people to do certain things or not. Now, he agreed that Canelo is avoiding Charlo and Benavidez. You heard him say that. I can give you a triple yes, yes, and yes. My whole thing is this, man. If those fights don't materialize while these guys are still youthful, while they're still in their primes, it's really no need just to say, just to have a Kell Brook versus Amir Khan type of situation. Two guys well past their prime, but just to say we got that fight, people are into it for that reason alone. Other than that, two guys that, especially Brook with the damage he's taken to his face and the wear and tear throughout the years, what's the purpose? Just a last hurrah. I understand it, but it is what it is. But just listening to this is what is happening in boxing, and people don't get it. Because of popularity, because you have a huge fan base, your fan base is going to cheer and ooh and ah every little thing you do. And when fights don't happen, like, let me give you an example. This is not about, video's not about who's ducking who and who's not this and that, but can you honestly say Demetrius Andrade is ducking Canelo? When Canelo told you, a horrible fighter, and told him he hasn't beaten anybody. Anybody watching Demetrius Andrade fight and say he's horrible just because Canelo said it, well, you're a puppet and you're not using your own judgment and common sense. Demetrius Andrade is a very good fighter, and whether he'll beat Canelo or not, well, that's what we want to see, right? The same way, the fight hasn't happened with Charlo and Demetrius Andrade because Charlo was saying he's broke, he want a payday, and I'm not helping him make any money. And it's like, to me, that's just some BS. So what does that go to show you? He's not concerned about legacy. If I beat Demetrius Andre, that's a part of my legacy because he's a great champ. He's a great fighter, right? Then I don't care about that. Why? Because these guys already have millions of dollars. So even if they're not making Canelo type money, they're still millionaires. So the risk is not wanting to be taken simply because why? I got a good thing going. I can handpick who I want to fight. I can fight good fighters. You know, I can fight some B minus B plus fighters. Stay away from the A minus A plus fighters. Have a decent resume, and I'm still rich without even having to take those risks. So I just wanted to point that out because, you know, Keith Thurman is pretty much stating what's going on in boxing. The topic was Canelo, okay, but what's going on in boxing. This is the mindset that people have. Fighters who haven't even put in as much work as Canelo put in have that same mindset. Like, I don't have to fight these guys if I don't want to. Like you said, if Canelo says no bueno, then no bueno, right? But are you okay with that? So it's only a matter of time. Now, the fanboys will always be there, but it's only a matter of time before it gets to the point where people start booing Canelo, if that's the case, saying, look, man, you done fought this guy, we don't even know no fucking Makabu. Who the fuck is Makabu, right? Win, lose, or draw. We want you and Benavidez. We want you and Charlo. These are the things that, you know, I look at, and I don't respect a lot of it. Some of it I understand, and I do respect, and some of it I don't. You know, we talked about the franchise champion a couple of videos ago. And like I said, even in that, it's not fair because you got fighters who are able to be handpicked and utilized. Not as saying, you know, you can request it, but you're getting more opportunities than other people. So you may be in a position where the same 8 guys you beat to become 8-time champion, there's guys, you know, that are your rivals that would have beat those same 8 guys and just never was given the opportunity, right? So it's one of those things, like in the history books, it'll say this guy's an 8-time world champion. Well, this guy was only a 4-time world champion, but he was never given those same opportunities. Now, people can say, well, he should have accepted the franchise. No, you don't accept something that you don't see as honorable. So I just thought this was kind of a cool video with Keith Thurman. And I just wanted to point out what he said in reference to the mindset of, you know, what Canelo's doing, and does he have to fight these guys or not? And pretty much, y'all heard the rest. So, if he beats Makabu, whatever, if he beats him, you know, he really should. You know, the guy's bigger. He really should. But if he beats him, it's probably just a one and done, an accomplishment. Another Pernell Whitaker versus Julio Cesar Vasquez type thing. You know, I just wanted to move up, get this, and then one and done. Who knows? You know, I know he got Andy Ruiz in his camp, but he was sparring heavyweights before Andy Ruiz came. You know, Prince Charles Williams back in the day used to spar heavyweights. A lot of fighters back in the day did that. This is not a new thing. You know, Roy Jones wasn't sparring heavyweights to prepare for Andy Ruiz. For Johnny Ruiz. But, you know, he went up and fought and he won. But this whole thing right now of fighters just having this, I don't have to fight this. This is what I've been telling you guys, man. The writing is on the wall. You can clearly see it. I don't care who your favorite fighters are, and you might think you're putting them down by admitting the truth, but this is what you see with all these guys. Look, Errol Spence is in no rush to fight Terrence Crawford. Nobody gives a damn about Spence versus no goddamn Udonis Ugas. You know, nobody cares about that fight. Nobody cares about this Canelo fight with this cruiserweight. It's more like they want to see if he can pull it off. If anything, it's not the challenge. They don't even know who this guy is. You know, and this is one of the rare times you hear somebody saying Canelo fighting some dude. Yeah, they usually know his opponents, right? They don't know who this guy is. So if Canelo wins this fight, and you know he now let's say if he wound up knocking this guy out and he like made it look like it was like an easy win, you might just see him stay at cruiserweight. He might want to unify cruiserweight then all of a sudden. Who knows? But we'll see. But that's the mindset that people have. And this is why you're not seeing these fights. The other thing is, the promoters don't believe in fights if the names ain't popular. Or if just one of the names is not popular. They want to maximize their dollars. This is a business first before anything else. So all that, fighters back in the day, y'all, forget all that. Preaching the same old sermon over and over about everybody fought everybody. We know it was easier to make fights back then. The money wasn't the same. They fought way more times because they wanted to make that money. You understand? These guys are rich from fighting C-class fighters and B- fighters. And some B+ fighters here and there. They're already millionaires. So that hunger, that desire is not there. The ego is there. I don't need you. I already made millions without you. You ain't doing nothing for this. So it's a different mindset. So these boxers have a businessman mindset now. They didn't have that back then. They have a businessman's mindset. So they are not willing to jump in there and hey, let's go ape shit on each other. No, it's like, nah, you know what? And imagine your manager sitting there telling you, you fight him, both of y'all getting bloody, bruised, eyes swollen, probably some cracked ribs, possibly a broken jaw, right? Look at what you're going to make fighting him. You could fight this guy right here, who's not as big a threat, but got a bigger name. More fans going to show up. You're going to make more money. Why would you put yourself in that type of danger when you can fight this guy? But when they get in front of a camera, right? You notice how most promoters don't even want to give you a direct answer when they're giving you bullshit. They can't just come out and say, I'm confident that my guy can beat him. They'll say something like, look, this is a business. You know, this is the exciting thing about boxing, because you never know what's going to happen. You know, we all want the fights, but you just got to wait and see. That's the thing. Stay tuned and let's see what we come up with. We have fantastic fighters. This guy. They start going around. By the time they finish talking, you forget what the original question was. Because why? They give you all this word salad to take you away from what the real topic is. When are we going to get him versus him? I don't care about all of them. Let them come later. We want him versus him. This fight's long overdue. So that's the mindset. And see, like I said, without that franchise championship, show me any fighter that can just go up and down in any weight class that they want. You know, and I've watched Makabu fight. I've seen like 5 or 6 of his fights, maybe more. And, you know, he look, the guy showed good punch placement. He's patient. He showed good head movement in certain fights. Like, you can see that, you know, okay, he's a decent fighter. He's just bigger than Canelo. He's not, even though he's a cruiserweight, he's not a huge puncher. No, he has respectable power. You know, he has respectable power. He's not a huge puncher. And we're just going to see what's going to happen for those who are interested in the fight between him and Canelo. But at the end of the day, the point is, Canelo is trying to add everything to his legacy with the amount of victories, the amount of championships he's won, you know, championship title fights in general, championship title defenses, all that type of stuff. So it is what it is, you know. When Keith Thurman's jumping back in the ring, we don't know. They didn't really talk about it too much. But that's not what I wanted to get into in this video. I'll make another video about Keith Thurman's return to boxing in a separate video. Anyway, never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.